Welcome back to Let's Play Neutopia for the TurboGrafx 16-bit. Let's venture on into the water sphere so we can find levels 5 and 6. Oh yeah! That's about as much as my voice can handle because I am unfortunately a mouth breather, and if I try to sing for long, copious periods of time, my throat seriously cannot handle it. No wonder I could not be a choir singer back in my church days. But yeah, welcome back to Let's Play Neutopia. And last time we finished off the subterranean sphere, and today we're here in the water sphere to find levels 6 and 5. Yeah, I actually went back before this video started to make sure my names of said areas were correct, and I really wasn't that far off because they're about as generic as you'd think they'd be called. You have the land sphere, the subterranean sphere, the water sphere, and the sky sphere. I mean, granted, I wasn't too terribly far off, but at least now I know the actual canonical names of these said locations. So let's venture on into level 5 and hope to God I can find a new sword, because we've been stuck with the same sword since level 2, and considering how much more beefy the enemies have become since then, I'd like a little bit more attack power, thank you very much. And you'll notice, moving forward, there's going to be a lot more trap blocks than usual, and you'll definitely need to make a careful navigation around these said blocks, especially considering that Jazetta's hurt box can be kind of a big pain in the ass when it comes to narrowly avoiding them. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not like other games where like the head is kind of a layer and the body is a hurt box. The head is actually a hurt box, and that's kind of a big pain in the ass, and I hate that so much. So yeah, getting around some of the blocks can take some careful navigation to the point of where you're having to navigate around them pixel by pixel, and I would say I'm annoyed by this, but even I've been kind of guilty of this to some extent, because back when I used to do modding for things such as Zelda games and such, and things like that, I had this weird infatuation of creating pathways where you had to make careful navigation around these parts of the level, or you'd get hurt and take a little bit too much damage. And not that I realize that it is actually a bad case of game design to some fair degree, and I have witnessed why on countless accounts I know not to do things like that ever again, at least for the most part. I haven't done modding for a while, so it's really hard to say. So, if level 4 has taught me anything, I am going to be making much more use out of my boom bombs than ever before, because I would like to see where these hidden paths end up taking me, because I haven't been doing it as much as I'd said I would, and given that you can skip entire parts of the level because of these said things, that'd be kind of cool to experiment with, wouldn't you say? So yeah, it looks like the enemies are pretty tame so far. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary. Got a potion. Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, I did technically need a potion. It's good to have that. Alright, so I had to leave for a second to go eat some nom-noms with some friends, and now that I am back, let's go ahead and continue onwards with our quest for, the medallions, and whatever else we'll find within this labyrinth, I suppose. My brain just happened to poop for a second. Oh my god. So, I guess I'm gonna take this route here for a second and see if I can grab that chest. Wasn't much of a shortcut, honestly, now that I think about it. But, yeah, let's see what's in here. Well, I definitely needed that. I guess I can't really complain. Oh man. So it does look like that this dungeon does indeed introduce the wizards that I had mentioned earlier. I'm just gonna call them wizards because that's what I'm accustomed to calling them in Zelda, and god damn it, it's just an age-old habit at this point. So I'm gonna see what's up with this room first. What is with all of these wing drops? Don't make no sense. I guess this was one of those rooms where you just get a lot of wing drops for no apparent reason? Okay. Alright, I guess I'll check this room out then. What's up? Oh! What do we got here? What a place to find a crystal ball! Okay. So I guess bobbing certain walls here and there does eventually lead into finding said dungeon items. I guess I can't really be surprised into expecting that sort of thing, but here we are. Alright, so I'm gonna come up here, and it looks like everything that we need to find is way up here, and this dungeon is looking like it's gonna enforce fighting these assholes. Oh man. Yeah, it just seems like the biggest struggle with the Riz Robes is just finding an opportunity to hit them, while also making sure you don't end up getting hit yourself as you're striking them, because they don't really have a telegraph for when they're gonna shoot their projectile, and that gets increasingly annoying because I can't tell if I can hit them at this opportunity or this other opportunity, and it just ends up being a muddled mess. At least in Zelda 1, I had the magic shield to mitigate the damage. Here, it just doesn't look like we'll be able to do a thing until we get the last shield in the game, which will probably not even be until, like, the last dungeon or so, which is a good ways from now. It doesn't look like they're too frequent, though, but I do know that in level 6, they're most definitely going to become a big hindrance in terms of how they influence the flow of the entire dungeon, so to say. Buddy, you're not even supposed to be hitting me. Get over here. Yeah. It's very difficult to determine where exactly the boss is going to be. So I might just check out this area first. Okay. I see. So, oh boy. Gotta watch out for those floor panels there. They'll trigger arrow traps, and you don't want to get hit by those. At the very least, we have a shield to deflect those, so it's not too much of an issue. I really love the shield and sword designs too. They have this big, elaborative fantasy flair to them that, you know, admittedly speaking, you don't even see in the early Zelda games. Like, not even from like the tile itself, from what it would otherwise suggest, but more so just from the sprites and stuff. I love the elaborate attention to detail they gave these sort of things. It kind of reminds me of like Morrowind to some extent, where like every like little bit of equipment that you get, including the armor and shields and stuff, they all have their own distinctive flair to it, and none of them really seem to like borrow off another in terms of aesthetics. And I don't know, I love it when games do that. It kind of makes your character look a little bit more personal, if that makes any sense. Okay, so the silver sword is indeed here. Awesome. Well, what dungeon doesn't have an ugly boss? Okay, well that's pretty helpful. So it looks like we're going to need to come over here to find our dungeon item. And it looks like from how this is split off towards the end here, we have our paths that diverge into both the dungeon item and the boss key. I guess we're going that route again, huh? At the very least, like, if you're not super big into getting lost, at least Neutopia's dungeon design appeals um, to a broader demographic in terms of, like, being a bit more clear as to where you'll find um, these set important items, whereas in Zelda 1, it just really feels like they threw these kind of things together and just told you, hi, you're either gonna get some rupees or a key here, or, like, whatever, you know? Very rarely did Zelda 1 have an elaborate sort of design where it had, like, these paths set up where you knew you were going to go after a dungeon item or a key or whatever, you know? Like, I'm thinking of levels 5 and 8 in Zelda 1. And, like, yeah, they're kind of set up in a clear, specific way, but not quite as, like, it's not quite as defined as, say, Neutopia would handle this kind of, design, so to speak. Oh, okay, so we need to push that one. Like, you look at the map, and, like, Zelda 1, for example, and, like, yeah, you might have a pathway leading up to it, but it's never really clear if this path is going to lead to an item, or if it's just going to be another dead end. But Neutopia makes it pretty clear right off the path that, right off the bat, that, hey, there are multiple paths, and these are definitely going to lead somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You know how I feel? You know what I'm feeling? Of course, I could probably be looking too deep into these kind of things yet again, as I always do, and I might be giving these games a little bit too much credit, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to avoid using my potion here. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. God damn it. Oh, wow. Okay. I guess the Flame Wand happens to work on these kind of guys too. So I guess some spirits can either decide on a whim whether or not they're going to be vulnerable to my projectile or not. It's going to have to be like that, huh? It just gets really annoying when you're fighting enemies that hop around a lot, and, like, even though they're suspended in midair, just colliding with their hurt box still does damage. And I know Zelda 1 did something like that too, but I know there was a certain point in gaming where, like, even if an enemy was suspended in midair, if they did that, you were kind of still within the clear to, like, run underneath them and avoid getting landed on or getting hit or whatever. But Neutopia doesn't quite follow that layering rule just yet. And that's where the issue of just having a big hurt box in general like that definitely just ends up being a real big pain in the ass. Like, again, like, I appreciate that, like, you know, this is an early 16-bit generation console, so obviously they want to show how they can upgrade the aesthetics and the gameplay a little bit to, you know, build off of, like, pre-existing genres and properties, and they do this by, you know, enhancing the graphics, enhancing the enemy variety to some degree. I think Neutopia could have done a little bit better in regards to that, because I feel like most enemies either just jump around or move, you know, in 4 directions, and that's that. And sometimes I just feel like making the character sprite a little bit bigger definitely hurts the gameplay a little bit in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so here is our boss. Basically, all we really need to do is wait for him to open his big fat mouth and just strike him whenever the iron is hot. He's not wanting to go on the aggressive just yet. In fact, he's doing a whole lot of nothing right now, and I don't like that. Do something. God damn it. RNG, please be on my side today. Of course, now he does it. And those projectiles linger on screen for a little while too, so you definitely want to steer clear of that. Very difficult to get close without getting hit by that, though. And these projectiles happen to get in the way of the fire wand, too. So, yeah, you've definitely got to pick your openings very carefully. This is a pretty good boss. It's a simple pattern, much like the others, but, like, I feel like the projectiles are set up in a way where, like, not only do you have to account for avoiding them, but you have to kind of, like, account for your positioning as well. I like it when bosses do little things like that, because it makes the boss a little bit more involved in what would meet the eye initially. For sure. Luckily, though, you don't have to exactly hit him in the mouth. Like, the moment he starts, you know, turning white in the eyes or whatever, you can kind of hit him from wherever. Most people kind of make the assumption that you absolutely have to hit him in the mouth, but no, it doesn't quite work like that. It's a lot more broad than you'd think. Oh, wow. The fire wand really does murder him. Even with it having reduced damage from my vitality getting lowered a little bit. Ah, that's sneaky. Sticking an enemy right in the medallion room. That ended up to suck, you know? Like, you just get done fighting a difficult boss, and then all of a sudden, you have to deal with, like, one more annoying, troublesome enemy as you're just about to get the plot MacGuffin, and it just ruins your day. Ugh. I feel mixed about that, I'm not gonna lie. Alright. Awesome. So, let's go back into the water sphere and check out what else needs to be trampled about. And see if we can find some additional upgrades and stuff. I'm pretty sure we can get a vitality upgrade and another tool in our arsenal. So we're definitely going to explore the overworld just a little bit more before heading off into level 6. One of these upgrades isn't required, however, like, you know, the Moonbeam Moss, it's definitely something you'll definitely want to have on hand, considering that you have trap blocks that kind of enforce its usage. Because, like, in this game, like, if you're running into darkly lit rooms, like, it's never a good idea to tread upon them blindly. Because of the trap blocks. And I think that was a problem in Zelda 1, whereas, like, yeah, you had your darkly lit rooms, but who the fuck really cared? Because, like, as long as you could see, like, things like the 4-directional way traps in the corner or whatever, like, you never really had to worry about floor hazards or anything. And I appreciate Neutopia for actually giving us a reason to have things like the Moonbeam Moss on hand, because you have trap blocks, and if you don't see the trap blocks, then, goddamn. Ah, shut the front door! I could definitely use more bombs. I do believe there is one more bomb upgrade left, and that's going to be in the last overworld, so, no need to worry about that, my kiddos and friends. I just need to find another life upgrade. Good thing we have another sword, though. God damn, I really needed that. I like how we have a little bit of backstory and world building here. It's pretty generic stuff, but I like when the games give more elaborate detail into, like, emphasizing the importance of its own, like, little plot MacGuffins and what have you. Ooh, that's pretty helpful to know. Now, I do believe the upgrade that I want to be finding here is going to be within this direction? Not right here, though. In fact, I think I might have been over here already. I don't remember. Oh, boy. Oh, okay, that's helpful to know. It's probably referring to the last overworld for a certain. So I'm gonna check out this area and see if we can't find something helpful. Oh, like that staircase, for example. Ooh, boy. Let's cross over here. Oh, okay. I guess we're already hitting that point of the game, huh? Already hitting up the strongest pieces of equipment this well end, but I guess considering the fact that there's only really 3 dungeons left, I suppose it makes sense. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's check out this area right here. Ah! God damn it. What the? God damn it, Hurtbox. You know what? I think I've already been over here? Perhaps? Maybe? Okay. That was a lucky guess. Well, I mean, I kind of just came from that staircase. That's kind of bizarre, and I chose to have a staircase to be the thing that transports me across this overworld. That's a little bit bizarre, don't you think? These enemies are definitely getting more brutal. Even with this new sword upgrade, I still find them a bit on the bulky side. Okay, so I'm gonna take a trip down here. Yeah, I feel like I'm... Yeah, let's check out this side here. I don't think I've been over here yet. No, I haven't. Well, I think I took a peek at some point, but I never really decided on a whim to go, hey, let's actually go over here and investigate it fully, you know? Yeah, actually, what we need is right there. Let's take this. Hold on. Jazetta, please, if you will. Well, that's not quite what I was looking for, but it's close, kind of. Let's check this out real quick. Yeah, here we are. This has got to be it. No? Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, so I was kind of headed in the general direction. Wasn't quite what I had in mind. But oh, I've already been here. Jeebus. These overworld locations are getting so much more complicated. Get over here, you. Oh. Okay, so the one without the staircase, huh? I bet he means this screen over here. Ow. Hey, buddy. Oh, here we are. Oh, what do we got here? Alright, this is definitely what I was looking for. Alright, the Falcon shoes. See, I told you guys, the NPCs help out a lot in this game. Even if you happen to stumble across your muscle memory for, like, information and just kind of forget things. And then here are the NPCs here to save the day. Well, thank you, I am a very handsome young man. So the Falcon shoes are not required to beat the game, but as you can see, it makes your character lightning fast. So it's very helpful to have, especially towards the late game, because it makes maneuvering around projectiles and enemies a lot more efficient, I'd say. In fact, it's gonna definitely help in putting me on the aggression a lot more often than I was earlier. I don't think the Falcon shoes are, in a way, something you'd absolutely need, but they definitely help in making the journey much more smoother than it was initially. initially, but you get the idea. No, in Neutopia 2, given your default movement speed in that game, I would actually argue in that game it's almost required. It's goddamn. Especially like towards the end, like there are some bosses that get so ridiculously difficult. I can't imagine fighting them without the Falcon shoes for certain. Having more movement speed helps, for sure. Oh, Jesus. I guess there isn't a life upgrade on the overworld after all. I guess that's all we really needed to find was the bomb upgrade, the shield, and the yeah, I think that was about it. Okay, so alright, so this definitely is where level 6 is. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next part. So see y'all then.